It's a great blessing to be here, man. I'm thankful that I've had the opportunity to come and speak life to y'all. My purpose here is to speak life, right? I'm not here to talk much about politics. I'm here to talk about the spirit that's within you. Where do you want to be? Who do you see yourself as? When you look in the mirror, are you the lion? Are you the lion? Are you in beast mode? Or do you want to walk around with your head down? Would you want to walk around with somebody handing you something? Or do you want to walk around with power? You want to walk around knowing that you run this thing. That your future is in your hands. Nobody else. I don't want to hear another excuse about the white man. I don't want to hear it. What you want your community to be is up to you. The way you raise your kids is up to you. How hard you go on your job is up to you. Nobody else. I learned this thing in life. Nobody's going to hand you nothing. And if they hand it to you, it ain't worth having. You got to fight for it. All of our ancestors have fought. They stood strong. They operated with integrity. They weren't waiting for somebody to open the doorway. They kicked the door in. And I want us to understand it. I want you to feel that. Because you need to take that from here. You need to take it out into your regular life. You need to take it out into your community and make an impact. Y'all can give that a round of applause. I want y'all to feel powerful. I want y'all to feel powerful. I'm tired of that weak energy, man. It's power energy. And I'll say this. The thing that makes me sick that goes on in our country is the idea that the police are against the people. That the police are against the people. And I'll say it for a third time so you get it in your spirit. The police are against the people. That is the biggest lie that they have told us in centuries. Let me tell you this. Growing up, some of y'all never believe this. I used to sag my pants down here. I had gold teeth in my mouth, tatted up, got my hood on my forearms. Now you wonder, how did that man come from that position with that mentality to now I'm on stage as a former police officer? I got to thank God first for it. Because if it wasn't for me getting saved in 2008, I wouldn't be here. But I'll say this. When I was growing up, I didn't have a positive idea of police in America. I didn't. Every time I got pulled over, I was like, oh, they pulling me over because I'm black. They don't want to see a black man shine. They don't want to see me rolling. They don't see me rolling on 20s. I had 20s at the time. Some of y'all know what them 20s are. But I kept them clean, though. I kept them clean. But they didn't want to see me rolling, so they pulled me over for no reason. That's what I thought. When I was 8 years old, I got arrested for smoking marijuana in a vacant house. And for some of you guys who understand about marijuana, weed, I wasn't just smoking a little bit. I was smoking blunts when I was 8. My cousin and them used to have us smoking blunts. We were too young for that. That's why I can't remember nothing now. But that was my interaction with the police. They came and they came in like the SWAT team on us. We were in a vacant house. They pulled guns on us. They put us in the car. And I think I was the youngest. The oldest was 17. It was 6 of us. Well, it was 7 of us. The 17-year-old was the 7th one. He went to big boy jail, and they took all us to juvenile detention center. All 6 of us, they piled us in a police car in the back. And I don't know if you've been in the back of a police car, but it's small back there, right? It's not meant for you to be back there. So they put all 6 of us in there. 5 sitting across, 1 laying over the top. We were all handcuffed. They told us that we looked like sardines, and they laughed at us. And it made me upset, right? Even though I was wrong. I was wrong as 2 left shoes. But I was upset that they spoke to me like that. So I grew up having a negative thought process in my mind about the police department. Fast forward to me leaving college, former football player. I was in the NFL draft, didn't work out. I wish it did sometimes, but I'm kind of glad I didn't get the concussions and all the injuries that they got. But I needed a job. Never thought about being a cop. Never did. Not one time. But as a man, I understand that I have responsibilities. At the time, my son was just born. He wasn't even 1 yet. And I said, you know what? I'm put my pride aside, and I'm going to apply for every job, and I'm going to go to every job until I get an opportunity. I'm not waiting on nobody to give me nothing. I'm going to go fight for it. And I tell you what, I filled out a lot of applications, and I got a lot of no's, and I had a college degree at the time. So one day, after an argument with my baby mama, y'all pray for me. We got into a little minor argument over the phone. And I'm talking to her, and I think we were arguing about the engagement ring. Y'all know how that is. Some of y'all know what it is. We're arguing about the engagement ring. Then the next morning, I get a phone call from the Tucson Police Department. And I say, oh, man, this girl done called the police on me. She's trying to get me arrested over an engagement ring. And so I answer the phone. I'm like, how can I help you? And they're like, Mr. Tatum, you applied for the position to be a police officer, correct? And I'm like, oh, yeah, let's talk then. We can talk now that I'm not going to jail. So, but that was the beginning. I said, I don't know nothing about policing. I know nothing, but I know I need an opportunity. I said, well, let me go do a ride along. I don't know nothing at this point. But what I see on cops, which is a skewed representation of what we really do. So I go and do a ride along. I roll up on this officer, Officer Sean Payne. I'm surprised he didn't pull a gun on me at the time. He told me he almost did. I roll up on the side of his car in the parking lot. And at the time, I had a Grand Marquis with 22s on it. I had my hat backwards like that. I'm tatted up. I'm like, what's up, man? He looking at me crazy. But I said, look, I want to do a ride along. He brought me on. White officer. So much for all that racism, huh? A white officer brought me in, took me on a ride along. And I'll tell you what, that changed my life forever. I used to believe that football players, nothing against them, I know how it is to work hard and do your thing. I used to think football players were heroes. Like, oh, man, Cedric Benson, R.I.P. to Cedric Benson. Sean Taylor, R.I.P. to Sean Taylor. Unfortunately, them brothers lost their lives. They were my favorite football players. They're heroes. Until I rode with a real hero. Sean Payne. We went from helping an elderly lady at a traffic stop change a flat tire. Nothing major, kind of cool, good hospitality. And then the next call that come out is a suicidal man, a young kid. It was a young kid actively cutting his wrist. We jump in the car. We're going about 75 miles per hour down a residential street. I had never driven that fast in my life on a residential street. On the record, just for the record. But we're flying, and we almost died about 3 times because people don't know how to move to the right. So if you see the police, move to the right. Don't get on your phone. Don't stop. Don't panic. Just move to the right. You help us out a little bit. So we're going down there, flying. Go through the intersection, flying. We get to the apartment complex. Now I had to hang back because they're doing real work. They kicked the door in. Once they all went in, I was able to come and peek around the corner and look. The kid was literally on a back table. There was kids laying on the floor. I'll never forget this. They were like asleep. They were laying on the floor, and he was at a table cutting his wrist. I saw Sean Payne go and save that boy's life. This same man that was on the side of the road with an elderly woman went and risked his life to save that young man. And I remember before we went to that call, he was asking me about my family. We get back in the car, he continues to ask me about my family, and my heart is going like this. And he said, what were you saying about your mom? I'm like, I got a mama? I didn't even know that. And I said, hey, you do this every day? He go, I do this every day. Every day? You out here doing this, putting your life on the line, leaving everything at home, willing to die for somebody you don't even know, and you do this every day? I said, I got to do this. God has already put it in my heart. I need to be that guy. I need to save and protect as many people as I can with the abilities that I have. All that running and training, now I can do that to protect other people instead of playing on the football field. So then I realized that all my life I had no idea what police actually did. I had no idea. Then I became a police officer. I was probably the youngest to ever be a public information officer, which is a spokesperson for the police department, the entire police department. It's probably 15 black folks on a 1,000-person police department. But out of that, I was one of the ones that spoke on behalf of the police department. I was on a SWAT team. I was a field training officer. I trained new officers as they came in. And I was a general instructor at the academy, meaning I taught people at the academy what they needed to know to become successful police officers. All of that I did because I had a vision of what I wanted to see in my community, and I knew I had to take the steps forward to be the change I wanted to see. And every time I see a police officer, most of them are good people. Don't get it twisted. There's some idiots out there, right? I was a part of investigations where we fired a few of them because they're trash and they have no business with the badge. And we stand against them every chance we get. We should all be in unison on that one. But for the majority of them, they're going out and they're risking it all. And you see one of them. I have a young son. I remember when he was just little and I started out. I'm all green behind it. I'm ready to go. But I left him at home. All of my dreams and aspirations I left aside to go and serve in the community. That was one of the greatest sacrifices that I've ever done. And I think we should give law enforcement a round of applause for them doing that every day. I'll never forget the amount of people I saved. Had a young girl she was trying to jump off a bridge to her death. And people that are seriously trying to kill themselves, they don't call. They're not going to call. They're committed. She didn't call. People called in for her. She was hanging on the edge, legs off the edge. Her fall was going to be sudden death. She was going to hit the railroad tracks and die. She was literally hanging off the edge. I was the closest person to the scene. I had to make a decision. I'll never forget pulling up, getting out, and I thought to myself, I don't want to die, but I have to get this girl off the edge of this bridge or she's going to die. I remember going and pulling her off the side. Cannot confirm or deny how hard I did that because I didn't want to fall off the edge. But that's just one example of many things that I did. I remember seeing people who were broken inside, opioid crisis, saw it firsthand. And I'll say this. Here's a myth that I think people should consider. Police officers, black, white, green, or orange, nobody likes seeing young men shot to death laying in the road. Nobody. For all this rhetoric of these white officers that go into the black community and they just don't care about black folks, it's lies. It's lies. You're watching TV, you're not watching reality. When you see all these Chicago shootings, who you think respond? Who do you think showing up? Who do you think see a 15-year-old laying, bleeding to death? They have to put him in a body bag. You don't get to go to the scene as a police officer and see, oh, he's dead, I'm going to do an investigation. No, you assist in putting them in a body bag. You have to investigate. You have to go tell the parents of that person that they're never coming back. That's the truth and reality in what police do. And I wish that people knew that so we can change our perspective. I'll say this, the lies of police brutality. Raise your hand if you believe that police officers kill more unarmed blacks than whites. Raise your hand. Just keep it 100. Raise your hand. Do you think that they kill more blacks than whites unarmed? Well, y'all woke. Y'all need to get them other people in here then. But it's true. This year alone, they've killed double the amount of whites unarmed than blacks. And people don't want to talk about that. But they want to fearmonger you. Think about the unarmed people getting shot this year in total. It's a small fraction of the black community. I think it's been, in Baltimore there was 1 this year. Across the country, I think there were 7 unarmed black people that were shot. There's about 40 million black people in this country, about 42 million if you include biracial black people. That's like 0.0000000 something percent of our community that gets shot unarmed by police. But that's the biggest threat to your life is what they tell you. They want you to hate them. You get pulled over on a traffic stop. How many of y'all been pulled over on a traffic stop? Oh, y'all better slow down. Better slow down. Speeding all day long. No, y'all wrong. How many of y'all been committing a violation but didn't get pulled over? Let me see where this white privilege come in at. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, 300 million people in this country, and there's a select few people that actually get interactions with police and actually have negative interactions with police. How many of y'all have had a negative interaction? Keep it 100. I've had a negative interaction. I'll never forget the officer in Tucson Police Department, before I became a cop, that pulled me over. I was wrong. I was going around the speed bumps. I didn't want to mess up my 22s, so I was going around the speed bumps. But he got me. I said, fine, I was wrong. I ain't not going to argue with you. But then he wanted to go further, right? He wanted to get in his emotions because he couldn't argue with me. And I remember that I hated him. It's a strong word. I went so far as hoping that he got killed. I'm going to tell you the truth. He had me out there. He was punking me, right? Oh, you want to go to jail? I could take you to jail. I'm like, officer, I didn't know that my registration being expired in another state is a misdemeanor. He arrested me and everything. He didn't put me in cuffs. You know, they paper arrest you. I remember hating him. But that doesn't mean that I have to treat every officer the same way, right? Think about this. Think about this for a minute. Black people, I'm saying all people, but this is a black event. Black people I don't like, and I know a lot of you will concur, I don't like when people judge all of us based on one person's actions, right? Just because some fool want to walk around with his pants sagging with a gun, don't mean you got to take my gun. Just because some fool don't value his life, so he decided to take another man's life, don't mean that I'm doing that. Just because a fool want to tell me I'm acting white because I'm getting an education, that don't mean we all like that. And just because a police officer does something inappropriate, don't mean they all like that. I believe that's fair. But I'll say this. I keep saying that. That's my thing. I'm going to say this. I'm like my pastor. I'm almost finished. 30 minutes later, I still ain't ate nothing because we still at church. Raise your hand if that's your pastor. Oh, hey, white people too? Oh, I see y'all. I love messing with y'all. I almost forgot what I was going to say. Oh, about change. And I want to encourage young brothers, apply for the police department, right? You able-bodied, you can go down there and make a difference in your community. They need you. They need you. And listen, I'm not the one to play the race card, but I have been in situations, and for whatever reason, the way we're conditioned as people, when I would go on a call with the black people, they want to talk to me. I'm going to be honest. They want to talk to me. They didn't want to talk to the white officer. They felt connected to me right away, and they were still going to jail. But they felt like they'd rather go to jail with me, unfortunately. But that's the way we feel as a people. You identify with somebody, you're more likely to listen to them. You're more likely to feel like you can relate to them. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I used to be like the black people whisperer, right? I'm going to keep it 100. I go on the call. They yelling at my white friends. Oh, you put me over because I'm black. And I'm like, come on, bro. Get over here. Let's talk. You're making us all look bad. You know your license was suspended. But they listened to me. They felt that I can relate. And I think that it's invaluable for us to be a part of our community's solutions. For us to be a part of policing, not only because we now have the power to change, but because young people can see you. You know how many young brothers walked up to me and was like, that's a black police officer. I'm being honest. They'd never seen that before. It's important for us to represent in that manner. It's important for us to be a visual representation in our communities. Because it's just like this. We on the police department, we had officers who spoke Spanish. And we had a population in Tucson that people were comfortable or either only spoke Spanish. They got along with that community much better. And especially if you grew up in the same environment, now you understand culture better. It's just the way it is. I would go to a house, a Hispanic household, and another officer who was Hispanic who grew up just like the people that we went over their house. They related right away. And I took the back seat, and I'm like, okay, I'll write the paperwork. It seemed like you getting, they communicate with you. We need to understand that that's reality. I'm not saying a white officer couldn't go into a black community. I'm not saying a black officer can go in a white community. But what I'm saying is that we need to have an opportunity to represent where we live. We need to let the community feel like we're there. You still may get shot, this is what it is. You pull a gun, you probably gonna get shot anyway. But we're gonna be there, right? Do y'all agree with me? Raise your hand if you agree. Where I'm at on the time. I'm calling her out. She's looking at me crazy. But let me talk about something else before they give me the boot. So, also what I feel is going on that is really killing our society is the fake outrage and the fake stories of racism. All you got to do is look in here. There's a wide variety of different people in here. We all getting along just fine. There ain't no situation where the black folks don't feel like they can sit by the white folks. And come on, y'all. It's 2019. Most of us don't care. It's all about making money, too. You get what I'm saying? If you come to my business and you white, green, orange, handicapped, I don't care. I'm going to serve you just like I'll serve anybody else. And I think most of us understand that. But there is a mission and an agenda from people on the left. They can't have us unite. They can't have us unite. Forget party right now. Forget party. I'm talking about ideology. People on the left, they can't handle it. So they have to conjure up these fake issues. Jussie Smollett, that NFL football player that just vandalized his own business. Let me tell you how dumb he is. Jussie Smollett, he's dumb. He followed the guys. Y'all know he followed them on Twitter, receipts with his name on it. I mean, he's the easiest criminal to arrest. Police were licking their chops when they saw how dumb he was. Well, this guy is dumber, if that's even possible. He steals TVs out of the business, vandalized, right? The N-word, MAGA. He do all this. Then he get in the truck right outside the business with the TVs in it, with the paint he used, and he gets pulled over. The cops see him. He's suspicious. They pull him over at gunpoint. Get him out. He got all the materials in his car. And he got black paint on his hands. Come on, bro. You can't at least run from the scene. You got to get in the car and drive. But anyway, lies to divide us. And I'm going to finish with this last story, because this is the one that I've seen most people being confused on. Remember Felicity Huffman, right? You're the celebrity. Y'all know who she is? Raise your hand. So she got off on a pretty easy one. Big old fraud that she did, getting SAT scores, I guess, raised by paying $15,000 or some big college scheme she did. And then there was a lady named Tanya McDowell. So raise your hand if you think that was an injustice. Some of y'all woke. Some of y'all, I'm finna enlighten you right now. If you got your hands up, you finna be shocked. So the lady Tanya used she used a person's address, but she fraudulently used an address so her kid can go to a better school, right? Supposedly, Felicity Huffman got, I think, 14 days in prison that she had to serve, $15,000 fine. But Tanya got 5 years. Felicity is white, Tanya is black. How many of y'all think that was wrong? Oh, you about to be shocked. What they didn't tell you, I feel like I'm preaching right now. Don't your pastor do this? What they didn't tell you is that Tanya got arrested and charged with attempting to sell drugs to police and prostitution. That's why she got 5 years. Her sentence had nothing to do with her sending her kid to the wrong school. She got popped with crimes that would have given her a significant amount of time, but she did a plea deal that gave her 5 years. How many of y'all shocked? Raise your hand. They are lying to us. Lying. So that you can be mad at her. So that you can hate him. So that you don't talk to him. And y'all don't understand that you got more in common than you have in division. So I conclude with that story. But what I want to leave you with, just real quick, is that we need love. We should love each other. We should appreciate each other.